Bronis, you're muted. Bronis, you're still muted.
It's only 3 years and I haven't learned yet. Tristan's laughing over there, I'm sure. Anyways, welcome everyone. As people are coming on, we'll give everybody a little bit more time. But tonight we have actually a good group of people. A lot of them we know, but they all kind of reached out and asked if they could come share what they what they've changed over the last number of years by essentially listening to Coach's Corner. And so what we're hoping tonight is that we can get what they've learned, share a little bit of what we've heard others have learned, and hopefully you guys anyone that's interested want to share theirs, give us 5 minutes to share theirs. We can send you a link, or you can share it in the comments. But if you want to come on the show, we'll share you a link. We'll let you go ahead and talk about what you've learned, and then we got to let you go just because we're running out of a number of people we can actually add to the corner. So, but I'd love to hear what other people have changed, maybe coming out of COVID in practice because they've heard it here, or tell you the truth, you heard it even on any of the other things any of the other shows that were around through COVID. But let's go ahead and let's bring up some of our friends and guests. We're gonna go ahead and get a few of them early off because a couple of them are, well, at least one is still at work, and another one is in Europe, which is like 2:00 right in the morning, and I appreciate Craig for coming and His Highness for coming and wanting to share with us. And he has a lot of great stuff. I've been lucky enough to have been watching what he did. I'm more I'm more motivated by him every time I get to look through his Facebook pages and all the crazy stuff he does. So, but Tristan, you kind of came up with this idea of getting people to come on and talk about this. What was your goal here?
Yeah, well, first of all, happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Last year, I remember we did a Thanksgiving themed show. And when this Thanksgiving came around, we were thinking, in our little private coaches meeting, what should we do for Thanksgiving? And one of the things that had been happening over the last couple of months is a number of the coaches have gotten private messages from people just saying, thank you so much for doing this. We've gotten a great amount of ideas and new things to try, inspiration, help people get kind of unstuck, get out of their plateaus. We've gotten so much great feedback that I thought, it would be really fantastic for just people in general to hear how people have succeeded and found success by listening to the content that we put out, putting that into practice themselves. It could be an inspiration, not just from those of us, the coaches, but also from the people who learn, because it can be hard sometimes when you're off in a place by yourself, or you feel like you're stuck with ideas. You don't know what to go or where to go or what to do. But when you hear about other people that succeed, that really motivates you. So I thought that this would fit really well for a Thanksgiving episode.
So Bess, you're kind of the guru of everybody coming out and talking to you. Oftentimes I'll go and I'll talk to Bess and say, oh, I don't think anybody's watching. And Bess is like, oh my God, are you kidding? Nobody talks to you?
Yep.
Yeah, I've been very fortunate to have the feedback from people telling us what they like and what they don't like. I do want to echo Tristan, happy Thanksgiving to everybody. I hope it was good. I hope you ate enough. For those of you who celebrate Wolfenoot, I hope you managed to boop some snoots and you had a good time with that. So kudos to you. So going back to it, yeah, I've been very fortunate. Some of the people here tonight have been people who have reached out to me who have just explained that the listening has given them some stuff to think about. I myself have had stuff to think about because of the episode, because of the things that we've talked about. So I think this is a terrific forum for the people who have learned something new and are trying something new to share with our viewers what they've done, how it's worked for them. And we're hoping to hear back maybe some of the things that the viewers have done, and you can share that with us, and hopefully somebody will learn from, what you've been doing at home.
All right. Well, let's go ahead. We're going to start with Lord Jack up from Eldamere. And he wanted to share some stuff. He actually shared with us before the show a little bit, and I was like, man, it's so nice to hear stuff like this. So he's at work, just kind of taking a break. So we're going to give him a chance to go first, so that if he has to go, he can. So go ahead, Jack.
Hey, thanks, guys. Also, happy Thanksgiving to everybody. I hope you're suffering wicked turkey hangovers.
Oh man,
this is I'm all out of turkey sandwiches now because I'm from Canada, but I wish I should get another turkey. Why not? So having a Thanksgiving episode is actually a pretty great idea, and I said to Bess that I might need some time or help prepping this because I was struggling what to say, but I totally know what to say, and I want you guys to understand, like, I'm familiar with uploading content and struggling with whether or not my measure is providing me with accurate feedback, because I would measure it by how many people watched it or how many people were engaged with it. And if I didn't hit the numbers that I thought, that it didn't mean what I was doing was wrong. It just meant maybe my measure was off. So I hope you guys all feel encouraged by, some of our comments, even if it's few and far between. I know Bess has had the privilege of receiving lots of positive feedback, but I hope you guys keep doing this no matter what. The number one thing I think that I've come out of watching Coach's Corner recently is in part because of how I came about to the level of fighting I'm at. I struggled early on, but I had a good opportunity with many fight practices. And like I said earlier, that I've had access to like 15 nights and 8 Dukes on a weekly basis. And I was thrown into the bear pit, and learning that way is a real tough way to go about learning. And I know that there's better ways, and I did have opportunities one-on-one with individuals teaching me certain things. And now, 10 plus years in, we have a couple of new fighters, and it seems like some fight practices are still just the bear pit. You show up, you fight in the bear pit or the loser bear pit, and you struggle to learn. Maybe sometimes somebody takes you aside and shows you a few things. I made the offer to a few new people to help them gain some traction in their training early on, and they jumped at the opportunity. So we have 3 or 4 new people within, let's say, less than 3 years of SCA experience, and they're training on Sundays with me when they can show up and when it's not Penzic. We're doing basic training. We're not even fighting at all. I don't think one night we've all had all of our armor on. And in part, the only reason I'm doing this is because I've benefited from some motivation from some of these videos you guys have put up, as well as the confidence that comes with knowing other people can do this too. It's just okay to teach new people, and having 3 or 4 people, even though a couple of them are new, they're still able to teach the others, right? They'll point out some things that they notice too, and that's okay too. Another one thing that I wanted to mention was, like, I'm currently injured. I feel like I've had my absolute best year of fighting in the SCA. I won every single combat tournament that I fought in Kingdom all year. And then I had a wicked accident and I sprained my ankle pretty bad at work. And I was hoping to finish strong, and I don't deal well with not being able to perform, and I don't deal well with rejection, and just being on the sideline sort of bothers me mentally. And even recent videos, the one, I can't remember the title, but Helga was on talking about all the things that she struggled with and had to overcome. That's a great video. I'm like, okay, I got a sprained ankle? No big deal. I'll be back. So that's helped me ahead of time. I didn't even realize I was going to be hurt by the end of the year. But that's something that immediately I thought about when I'm sitting there on the ground having just wiped out. I'm like, you know what? This isn't that bad. I got to take a little bit of break from fighting, but then I'm going to come back into it. And I think that a lot of what made this, current injury a lot more bearable for me, like mentally, was having that, encouragement ahead of time from some other people you've had on here too as well, talking about their injuries and having to take the time off of fighting just to heal and then get back into it too.
Well, I think the good part there is you actually still have a group of people that still want to learn from you. So hurt or not hurt, you still can be active and, participating and helping others, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they enjoy the hot tub too. We have hot tub. A few of them have jumped in there after. So hopefully it's not just the hot tub. But another thing I learned from the new guys, we have a new guy that's only been about 8 months in, and like he's trained me like how to be excited about things again. Like I've gone to an event I know
That's
I wasn't going to
huge.
fight to, and it's like, man, like I'll be 11 years in June. But like I'm excited right now. I haven't been excited for going to events at this level for a long time, and it's pretty awesome. So.
Well, I think the best part there, I think, is that I like that you kind of go through the episodes as like, all right, I'm hurt, and this is what I remember, and I think it's nice to hear that people are listening, and I don't think it's not a situation everybody's going to remember everything, but I think they're going to remember the things in the times when they need them, and I think that's the most important part. And I think for us, there's definitely been lots of episodes I'm like, I wonder if anybody's going to watch this, and not like we're pulling in, we're not trending anywhere, right? What we're doing is we're sharing, and I've been lucky enough. Tristan cut video years and years and years ago. Some of the first video when you had to use DVD to look at it. All right.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's my first video I have like 20,000 plus hits or more. And it's because it's the first video out there, and it's been out there for, the beginning of really online sharing of YouTube till now. And that's why it trends that way. But it does mean that people are watching it sooner or later. And I think that's what we are all hoping that these videos do, is give a library of things people can go watch. So
I may have watched that video about 1,000 times.
Man, I can't even watch it. It's so old. I'm like, oh my God, I fought like that. I trained like that. Oh God, how did anybody learn? All right. Well, you know what? We're gonna go ahead and pull His Highness Drakenval in. Craig. Craig is actually my grand squire, so I've had the opportunity to know him for a long time, and probably one of the most active people I have saw all the way through COVID. Just doing stuff, training with us on Sundays, doing all kinds of other ANS. I have a beautiful shirt he hand sewed for me. It's truly amazing and inspirational because I watch and I'm like, man, I could just be the knight he is. I'd be a much happier person. But Greg, why don't you go ahead and share with us?
I first have to give out a warning. If I say some strange word, it's my Swedish translation that's not really working. So it's quite okay to correct me if I get the wrong words about things. And thank you very much for those warm notes. Coaches Corners always, I would like to start with the whole COVID thing made, to me, the SCA very accessible. Because in my hometown where I live, there's only one other SCA member, so there's just the two of us. So we don't have very big practices. But then suddenly came along COVID, and all of a sudden, all of the world got public to everyone, which means you can then watch others, and you can also show others what you're doing, and that's very good to me. If I show something in public, means I have to do it, or if I set a goal in public, I have to follow through with it. I can't just sit around and kind of forget it. And since I'm quite new to this actually, since I only begun in 2015, and there was only two of us practicing, so my night at the time got mentored by by you, Duke Runners, and then I got mentored by my knight in return. And when he dropped off a bit, I just tried to continue, and you can always find inspiration at Coach's Corner. Maybe I always listen to every episode, but and I can always pick up something from each episode, which is quite nice. I don't usually listen live. I can take a few of them off in advance afterwards. I don't do it this early every Friday, I assure you that. I have some notes on my laptop I have to get here. Try to write something together since yeah, I get stuck. I don't ask me a question, Brannes. I don't want to continue.
Brannes, you're muted again.
So let's talk about your fighting. You just won crown. What do you think? Help that happen for you.
I think it was for the episode of goal setting, which was quite a long time ago, where you have to work with both victory conditions at your practices and setting goals. How far in advance can you set a goal, and how do you divide it up into smaller pieces so you know that you're on the right way? So I set the goal at we have crown every 9 months approximately. So at the former crown, I said, well, now I'm going to win crown instead. And then you just reach out to people who you believe are, or who you can see now when you go at YouTube, who you can see are very good at things. And then you ask them, can you help me to get even better? And most of the time you get a very positive answer from it. So it's a lot about goal setting and try to keep to that plan and get there. And then you never know if you're going to win or not. But I believe to me, it's very good to actually have the courage to say that I'm really trying, I'm going to do my best, and the consequence or the result of that might be winning. So, and I try to do that all through COVID, that if I put down some goals, long-term goals all the time, then it's much easier to do the small, maybe not so very fun stuff all the time when it's dark and cold and you have to jump around on a step ladder when it's raining outside. But then, yeah, I should say, we don't have Thanksgiving in Sweden at all. We don't have that. But I say I follow my American friends. I know about it. And one of the things that coming to this after, you have to think what you're thankful for. And I'm very thankful for. I don't want to mention names because then I'll probably forget someone. So I'll just refer to people, and then people have to take it to themselves and say I'm the people. So each one of you're the people, and what Coach's Corner and the SCA online has given me that people is sharing much more than I before totally, because people are putting things out there and they're reaching out to each other much easier. You can go to classes and you can go to events and just watch things, and that's what I'm very thankful for, that people are sharing much more stuff if you don't have them around. We don't have practice with 15 knights. We maybe have 15 knights in our entire principality that's in fighting shape at the moment. So, and I'm also very thankful for, as the former speaker, I can't see his name because it's too small. He said that teaching people, also very thankful to people that if you have a practice and you put up guidelines, this is what I want to practice on, then it seems like people come to you because they want to join something that they actually know what's going to happen. It's not just only sparring, there's something else. And we're very thankful that people want to listen to you, because it's very rewarding if someone wants to listen.
Well, I think for me, the good part about teaching and being and doing those kinds of things, I think, I think that Jack is going to see it too, is that, those times like I haven't been able to fight because I got a new shoulder again. But I still go to every fight practice. I still actually do all my footwork drills. I still run stuff, and it keeps me active. It keeps me thinking about fighting. It keeps me, yeah, and it keeps me doing things I can still do instead of going home and finding some show that's in the middle of my fight practice that now takes on its own life, and then I never go back. So, but and people are waiting there. People are hoping that you show up and teach. So, becoming a teacher is a great way to keep involved. The second piece is becoming a teacher helps you understand what you do better and better all the time. I mean, when COVID started, I've said this a number of times on shows. I probably learned more in the first year of COVID than I knew before. And I taught for a long time before. And I look back and I'm like, what the hell did I teach? Because there's so much more stuff that I'm like, I learned so much about teaching just from the other coaches. They're just all amazing. It's, I could sit and talk to Tristan all day long, and, we have for 25, 30 years now. And, so it's nice. I get to hang out with them once a week at least. So it's really been beneficial for me. It's interesting you say, I'm Craig, I'm looking for the video. I'm going to find it. One of your best videos you posted was at an event, and it was winter, and you had brought the ladders with you and had it looked like everybody that was at the event, women, children, everyone was doing ladder drills.
You don't have to bring when you teach to someone, you don't have to bring all the package and tell them everything because that's usually too much anyway. So at every event I go to, I ask them, do you want me to have a footwork class? And then I just say the same thing. And I've been doing that for 2 years now. And I believe that the final in our Crown tournament actually was approved that if you say something or show something enough times, people will catch on to it.
Well, it sure looked like it, let me tell you.
I really like that idea. Oh my God, it could be a fun activity for kids at events. How fast can you do this?
Yeah.
Step up and down the ladder, right? And they don't realize that they're learning to move their feet well. But that's a terrific idea. Thank you. I might steal that for some of our events. Thanks.
Well, and actually, didn't you just had it? You had Guillaume at Crown bring a ladder and do the ladder stuff between Crown rounds, right?
He absolutely did. Perfect.
Well, Craig, anything else you would like to, and you're more than welcome to jump in anytime, Craig, and you're also more than welcome to, if you want. I know it's late there. You could go to bed anytime you want. I know the show is an hour and a half, so, but you're welcome to stay. I miss Sundays with you and seeing you doing them inside the barn. Your agility has really, really skyrocketed. Just watching over the time is the perfection you have in the ladder work stuff is really great.
Right.
So, who would like to go next? Actually, we brought somebody on. Do you want to introduce him? There we go. You're on mute. Mort. You're on mute. There you go.
Got it. There we go. Sorry, I had double mute, had it on the mic as well as on
no
the
problem.
screen. Sorry about that. Yeah, the resources you guys have put together have just blown me away. They've been incredibly helpful. A lot of the episodes that you've covered, some of it reinforces the things that I was taught when I was competitive pistol shooting by the Army. You've brought in a whole batch of additional things on the physical side of it. The returning to fighting in particular, I've had a break since 2018 and starting to come back, and having people who've gone through similar things and they're sharing where potential landmines are, different techniques at work, the mindset of, that you're now fighting in a new body. Especially if you've had injuries or anything of that nature that you're recovering from, and that you have to change your expectations, defining what is a victory on each practice you go to, if you're doing dedicated practice, if you're just out kind of screwing around, really clarifying that, as well as the different goal setting. I also find it very handy because there's some nights I'm not able to join in live and watch it when it's being broadcast. So I'm able to bring it up and have it on another monitor while I'm doing work stuff. Or if I'm working on some of the armor or some of the other bits on there. There have been a couple episodes where I just, when you're first broadcasting it, I'm taking quick notes and I'll go through a couple pages and then I'll go over to the YouTube side, pull it back up and go through it slowly and in detail to make sure that I've gotten the information, because most likely I probably missed a couple of things on that first viewing and I pick up more the second time. And if I go back a third time, I have every time found more items that I've been able to take and use and readjust my toolbox. Everything also from not fighting your armor, the mindsets, the different developing your own ritual, programming the onboard computer, and then the library is just spectacular. Being able to go in and I know Beth's some of the diagramming out of the ladder drills and being able to work on those, working around on the Pell and ways to improve it. Another part that was really handy was the whole section of how to watch videos, how to take them and effectively not diagnose them, but more dissect them, and what to look for, what not to look for, and then how to practice watching different videos to pull out what you need. What are you looking at? If somebody's doing something similar, using a fighting style that you're wanting to find out more of, now I look at them completely differently. And, I'm just building up piles and piles of notes on things and being able to use it almost immediately. So this entire setup has been wonderful. Well, you made the comment about learning more in COVID. I didn't even catch the first year. I wasn't even aware of it. And it wasn't until the end here of 2021 that I started picking up a lot of. And I think any of my other fighting friends and other friends will tell you it's one of the things I talk about all the time of you guys need to go here. Go pull up these videos, start watching them. Pick out the ones that you want to see first, get into it, and then go back through getting the stuff that you want. What are you trying to work on? They've probably got an episode on it. And if not that, they've probably got documents that somebody has written something up on it. And then on top of that, the conversations that go on in Coach's Corner and the questions that people come up with, just really get your mind thinking on it. So just as a resource, this thing's incredibly invaluable. You've pulled so much together and brought so many people on here. So I just can't say enough times, thank you for sharing your time. The one thing that we can't get back, and you willingly given it to us. And I think it's brought a lot of our fighting up, especially those of us who are a little broken, a little beaten up, and coming back in and having the right mindset to look at things and go, I've got a whole new opportunity to almost learn from the ground up with tools that were never available, that weren't even, we kind of wished and dreamed of them back in the day, as it were. Now they're right there at our fingertips that we can watch anytime. So
that's
thank
great.
you
Thank you so much. One of the things that I remember in learning before any of this stuff was available, when you wanted to learn, you had to get in the car and you had to travel outside your group. And I remember at events sitting around a fire and you get a chance to talk to somebody who's experienced, and you sit and you have a conversation and you get a couple of those nuggets of gold or a real jewel in terms of knowledge, something that opens up your mind, opens up a new way of looking at fighting. And, you drive home after, maybe spending a weekend or a week at an event, you've got 3 or 4 morsels to kind of chew on, but you cherish those, you treasure them, because you're like, I never would have had this had I not gone to the event, or I'd not gotten to cross paths with this person and learn from them and get their little bit of mentoring. And then with this project, getting to assemble all of those nuggets from many, many different sources is like a supermarket of those things instead of kind of going to have to hand pick a couple here and there when you can get them. But thank you. This is I very much cherish your input and feedback, because it's the reason that we all do this, is to make what was not very accessible to us back in the day far more accessible to everybody else now.
All right, Bess, you got the next person. Who would you like to get talking next?
Well, let's go from a older, more experienced fighter to one of the younger fighters. So Kim, you're a relatively new fighter, but I know that you're an avid Coach's Corner watcher. So would you like to share with us?
Sure. So I will tell you a little bit about my story. I think the timing is a little bit unique. I was about 45 years old the first time that I put on armor, and I will be 50 in January. So obviously there have been some exciting things that have happened in the world since I started fighting for the first time. The pandemic took a little bit of time away from me, and what I found was that Coach's Corner was invaluable in keeping me connected and keeping me engaged and allowing me to continue to grow and develop as a fighter, even when I couldn't get out into the physical world and engage with people. So at the time when all the massive shutdowns happened, I had been to a few house events, some house practices. I had been to exactly 2 SCA events. I was really excited about fighting. I was really, really just thrilled to move forward and become active and learn as much as I could, as fast as I could. And then the world broke. And so being able to be engaged with Coach's Corner, I'll repeat myself, but it allowed me to continue to stay active and stay engaged. Whereas if I hadn't had that resource, who knows where I would be right now? I certainly wouldn't be as far along in my fighting ability as I am. It certainly allowed me to connect and network with folks that I would never have been exposed to otherwise. I have this great resource, this great network of resource available to me now that I can reach out and have reached out if I have a random question, if I need help with something, if I want someone to look at a video with me for me. Um, uh, just folks that would not have been available to me otherwise. That's invaluable. You can't beat that. I went to my very first Penzic this summer, and I was able to connect with folks that I met through Coach's Corner, people from other kingdoms, people from other baronies. I was able to learn about other practices. I've been to some of the practices in Detroit. I've been invited to some other practices. There's this whole world that I didn't even know existed, or at least not to the level 5 years ago. And Coach's Corner has really opened up a lot of that to me.
I love it. And you're right. There is like a whole world that's kind of out there, and I've gotten to watch a few people get to know more and more people and travel all over the place, and it's fun because I've had the opportunity to know a lot of those people because I traveled a lot and did a lot of training all over the place, and I was lucky. And I think COVID opened that door for lots of people. And it's, there's great people out there. I mean, I've met so many people in Drachenfall, not only by going there and training once, but even more so online and on our Sunday drills and things like that. It's just wonderful people over there, and it's definitely renewed my faith in the society that there's so many good people out there.
It's a great community, and I think had I not discovered Coach's Corner, and through Coach's Corner some of the other resources out there, during that period of time when we couldn't be out in the world, I really think that I think it would have been a lot harder time for me to navigate personally. This provided a way for me to stay in touch. And gosh, I think that I don't know where I would be with my skill and my fighting ability. Certainly, I'm not anywhere near where I want to be. But gosh, I really wouldn't have had any way to work on anything during that period in time if I hadn't had these resources. So thank you so much for what you do.
Well, I think the biggest part is I've been lucky enough to see you at practices and things, and you know, prowess comes in a lot of ways, and one of your gifts is joy, and you bring that joy along with you. And I'm going to tell you, just your smile and everything else, it really brightens a lot of people's day, and you remind people how much fun this is. I think Jack even said that in when he was talking about a younger person that came. It's such a great reminder. I see it in Craig and the love he has for the society. I mean, I look at him like, what happened to mine? It's like I used to do stuff, and now I look and I watch everybody. I'm just amazed by what they do, and I feel like a slacker, but that's okay. You guys keep me motivated. So, all right, Bess, do you have another one?
Yeah, so Eustace, we have a younger fighter, an older fighter, and now we have a fighter who wants to train new fighters, who wants to change their practices a little bit. Can you talk about that for us?
Sure.
Thank you.
To give much like Kim, I just turned 50. I started fighting maybe 8 years ago, but didn't really take it seriously until one day my master at arms threw a baldric at me. And then I started going to fight practice weekly and maybe 6 events a year. And that's what my life can handle. However, I was starting to make progress. I was still a static B-range, heavy-footed fighter, and I still am. But COVID hits. And then I start watching you guys, and I start thinking. And then I became my baronial marshal. And I have to start running a fight practice. So the episode that has made the greatest impact for me is definitely Beyond the Trainer, because apart from our one local knight showing up when he can, he travels a lot, and some excellent help from neighboring baronies. Shout out to those guys. I'm the most experienced fighter in the room, and that's super scary. I reached out to Bess because that's scary. My knight, or my master at arms, is currently reigning, and so I don't get the help from both of them, Drumbrand and Kayla, that I would normally get. And they are amazing and supportive, and I don't want to take away anything from what they've taught me by giving you guys the props you deserve, because you've made me a better trainer and had the courage to train other people. And it's really funny. At my practice, we already have an esprit de corps of everyone invested in making everyone better. And half the people at practice watch your show and talk about your show. So I think you've made my practice better just by existing. And everyone gets that we're here to make each other better. And you've got me thinking about the lower half of my body and moving and not making it a 50-50 to choose whether I die or not. And by training others, I get the feedback that my fighting has gotten better. And we're going to make some boffer weapons. I just bought basket hilts. But yeah, I'd love to show you guys some video, talk more, and also get the real world check-ins with the experienced fighters around me. I hope to see Bess at Wassail. She can have a look at what I'm doing. I'm just very appreciative for the personal growth and for the growth of my practice.
Well, thank you. I mean, I think at any time you want to send video, I know Tristan and myself and Sean and almost any of the coaches are happy to watch and give you some more ideas. And if you have questions, we'll even shoot small video and pop those back out to you so you can work through something. Because sometimes you just need to work through something. I spent a great deal of time with Craig's Knight, who he'd throw something, and one week he'd throw something in the snow in his backyard, and I'd be like, okay, you have to change these things. The next day he'd send another video, and I'd be like, okay, you got to change these things. And that happened for a number of years, and it was very joyful to see him get knighted and really become a great trainer because he understood how to train. And I think everybody has something to give. I just think a lot of times people don't know how to say it yet. And
once you can, if you can show someone else or teach someone else, then you really know it. If you can't make someone else understand what you're talking about, you probably haven't gotten into the knowledge into your heart if you can't tell someone else how to do something. So it's really, really rewarding to be able to show someone and you see that they understand, because then I probably understand myself.
Yeah.
And communicating with those people at your practice. So I don't have all the skill, but I talk to them about what I know and the level of skill that I have, and always come at it humbly. And that seems to, it gets us through. It works well. And focusing on what you do the worst helps the practice and helps me personally. Anyway, thanks.
No, thank you. So, Vim.
Well, Clint, I have to admit, thank you.
I know that was. I'm like I'm starting to blush here. Vim, you've been around for a little while now. You did a lot of practices with us, and it's been a joy to meet. I can't actually wait to meet you because you seem so much fun. I watched so much of your video. It's just been crazy. So, what do you have to say?
Well, thank you guys for having me. I'm happy to be here. Excited to talk to everybody. It's my birthday. I just turned 40. So
Happy birthday.
Yeah, all these people. I always considered myself like I'd started later as a fighter in like my early 30s as an older fighter, and then I just got shown up by these guys, making me feel like a young pup. Anyway, COVID was a time of a lot of change for me. We moved from a rural shire to another rural shire, kind of rural, right before COVID hit. And I went from a practice of 5 to 7 pretty consistently to me being the only fighter. So that was a big kind of change and shock for me. So not only did I become the shires, immediately become the marshal, I ended up becoming the regional marshal as well. So yeah, lots of craziness. The other thing that was another thing that was a bit of a challenge for me is when I moved and COVID hit, I had for a long time had like really serious back pain that just wouldn't go away, and it affected the way I fought and everything. And when I moved and I had nobody to fight, and then COVID happened, I took the time to actually get healthy and fix my back. So it was in a way a bit of a blessing, but it ended up sucking later on. When I started to fix my back, I had to retrain how to fight more or less. And I had always used movement to generate power. So I would just bounce around the field. For some reason, that didn't hurt my back. But when I tried to shift my hips, that's what would hurt. So I had to relearn how to generate power from my hips. The problem is when COVID stopped and we were able to fight again, I had forgotten for some reason how to move. And so relearning that has been my challenge for the last, since the spring. Some of the things that I'm grateful from the Coach's Corner, very specifically, especially early on when you guys first started and there wasn't anybody else to fight, obviously, and I had no one to fight in my shire at the time, which we built like kind of 3 to 5. I can get everybody in the room. The episodes, especially the early episodes on the Need for Speed, really hit home for me because everybody's always trying to go as fast as you can, and realizing and understanding that I'm not terribly fast, but I can use measure and timing to appear fast. And so those really were awesome episodes for me. I've enjoyed all of the episodes where you guys were talking about analyzation of videos. I know those was mentioned before, but I spent a lot of time watching video because there wasn't a whole lot else I could do. That I like the book reviews. I tend to listen to books while I'm at work, and so like the book on mastery, and I've read the Book of Five Rings several times, and some of the other ones everybody's mentioned. I try to pull up and then try to listen to while I'm working or when I'm doing other things. I sadly don't get to participate in the actual live shows as often as I would like to, just because I have 3 small children under 5, and so this is usually their bedtime. But today I got to break out here, and so I tend to listen to these afterwards. So Saturday and Sunday, I'll clean house and put in my earbuds and pop on a show and listen to it while I clean the bathrooms and everything else. Maybe that was too much information, but anyway. So when I have the time, I try to listen to them. There's been so many good shows. It's hard to pick like all the different ones. The one thing that I have learned besides movement and all this other stuff is patience, not only with patience in fighting, but patience with myself, patience when it comes to healing, taking the time that you need so you come back stronger, better. And then, when you're on the field, being patient, that would be, one of the many things that I'm always working on, is going into a fight and giving myself the time to analyze what's going on in the fight and not just rushing into it. So thank you guys so much. It's been a pleasure. I know without the Coach's Corner, I wouldn't have reached out to Branos and asked to join their little Sunday morning drill. I had COVID and I was stuck in this room because I didn't want to get my kids sick. And he started posting these footwork drills, and I couldn't do anything else but footwork drills in the room. So I just started doing them, and it was a lifesaver for me because I was just going stir crazy. And I couldn't really do a lot of heavy activity, but I could do footwork drills nice and slow and figure out what I was doing and what I needed to do. So just those things have really helped me and helped me stay motivated, especially trying to build a practice up from zero. So thank you guys for doing this. It's really nice to be able to point people in the right direction, and try to, when I'm structuring my practice and trying to get people to do drills at all, it's all coming from here. It's all coming from these shows that you guys have been putting on. So thank you so much.
Thank you, man. It's been incredible. As much as you say you don't know how to move, I've watched your fights. You're full of something. I'm not going to say, but you move incredibly well. But the one thing I really have watched you grow in is patience. And I think a lot of that, we talked a lot about patience on Sundays. So yeah, I'm happy to see that you listened and you applied it and that you saw the benefit from it. So everybody's more than welcome to keep. I think we had Sivert. Can you find that post way back up? Somebody had a wonderful post. Although there's a bunch of people posting right now. And again, everyone, if you have something, share it. I mean, it's probably one of the best shows. You don't have to be on the show to share what really changed you or what really makes you stay here and listen to us. We had Scott Wallace who's really loves the mental episodes because and then there was a few others that talked about this that said the same thing. Is because it's, like, to me, the physical piece is sometimes there's Scott's. The physical piece is something that's relatively can work through. the mental piece is probably one of the hardest parts of our game, and it's probably the one piece that's overlooked the most. And I'm going to give Tristan kudos on this one because he's always talked about the mental game as long as I've known him, and I think it's probably one of the most important parts of what he teaches in your in his club. Am I right, Tristan?
Yeah, in fact, one of the light bulb moments that came to me just a couple of years ago, and this is from my observation of students and trying to coach them through advancing and specifically getting over plateaus. And that is your body can't go where your mind can't conceive. If you can't envision what you're going for, and the only vision that you have is basically where you're at, and you feel like your body is caught up and your mind isn't ahead of where your physical skills are, you'll just wallow there. And only when you see somebody else do something really great and you say, I can do that, or I need to learn to do that, I'm going to learn to do that, or through conversation, you have a door opened by something you hear, or something that gets a seed that gets planted in your head. When that seed gets planted and then your mind says, okay, this is going to grow. I'm going to pursue growing from this point. All of that's mental. As much people get obsessed with the physical part, and the physical does have its place, but if you try to train the physical without having the mental, I guess it's a combination of maybe ambition and will and passion, all of those things kind of wrapped up together, and then a goal, an actual tangible goal. All you'll be doing is exercising muscle, and that's not enough.
But we got a number of other people, and I'm sorry, Civet, could you pop up the first one I was talking about? And it's because we just had another one, John Danger, Greg, talked about this too, and this is a really, really long post, but this one was all about passion and the idea of the excitement around learning and the excitement about pushing yourself past, that it's not you against the other person, it's you against you. And I really enjoyed this because Patsy lives this in his art. I mean, he's a wonderful artist, and he lives this, and he finds, he learns more and more about his art all the time. He's also a darn good fighter. So, it's, I think that goes right back to the joy that, when you find joy in something, you just want to keep doing it. It's kind of that old idea is like, if you really love it, don't make it your job. Because then it's harder to love sometimes. And he talked about that, and it was a wonderful post. Betsy, I thank you a ton. It's your passion for your art and for the SCA comes out all the time, and has even before you were an artist and when I knew you. So I see we got a new. Go ahead, Kim.
I was just going to chime in. That's been a huge takeaway for me as well. You can't measure yourself by the guy next to you. It's really about how you perform based on those goals that you set for yourself. And if you continue to progress and get better, if you're, that's what it's all about. And to your point about taking joy out of what you do, I think you should be willing to fight anyone on the field, because even if you get one-shotted, you're going to walk away having learned something. And so if you go into it with that mindset, and not being fearful of what belt this guy has on or how you saw them fight their previous opponent, if you know that you step to the field, at least willing to take a lesson away, then you're only going to leave better.
Oh, I would agree 100%. It's, you find joy, and you're right. It's defeat isn't real defeat. right? And in fact, they talk about boxers and MMA guys who are, they leave each other bloody, and they're best friends for the next couple of weeks. After this, beat the crap out of each other. And I tell this to all my squires, and I tell it all to everybody I can. And that is that we know more about the person across us on the field at that point than we probably ever did. And that's the time to go talk. That's the time to go share something. That's the time to go compliment them. And a compliment doesn't mean, oh my God, you beat me. That compliment because like, man, that small fake you threw, I totally thought you were going to throw it. It doesn't matter if you won. It doesn't matter if you even one-shotted them. If they walk out there and they give you pressure, or they give you a smile or something, there's always something good to come out of a fight if you really look for it. And that's and John Danger, this is the one I was just talking about. He just started fighting in last year on Coach's Corner, and he said it's been a tremendous value for him. It taught about how not just to improve his skills, but also keep me mindful about taking joy in every fight. And that's where I got that, really what I'm talking about here. And because it was a great comment. And I think sometimes we don't talk about that joy. I think you see the joy in us when we talk about fighting, but I think we probably could spend a little more time talking about the joy of the fight. And it's work. It's work too. I mean, I drive down a line of, get rid of all that emotion, but at the end, there's still joy. So I see Nessa hanging out at the very bottom, giving me the side eye. I'm going to call her up because she's a problem child, and we want to get her off this show as fast as we can before she says something that the FCC will pull us off the air for. So Nessa, nice to see you join us.
Well, hi. I'm not that much trouble. No, Beth actually has asked me to come on. Like, I told her I'll be tooting my own horn coming on here. When COVID happened and everything shut down, I saw an amazing opportunity. I have Sir Husband in my house, who's one of the big players in the Middle Kingdom, and I was just like, oh, I could fight with him, and I would make these videos and I would send them off to somebody to review. And then event like a Coach's Corner started coming out, and I started watching those, and I started participating in the Sunday practices, and now I'm being asked to teach these things that I've learned, and my fighting's kind of gotten better.
You got a lot better.
I don't know what you're talking about. Again, tooting my own horn. Went from being beat by everybody to example, Grand Day of Tournaments 2019. I got one-shotted by every fighter I came across. And Bronis knows I went to him crying and all this other stuff. Last week was Grand Day, and my first opportunity to get back there since 2019, and I made it to the final 16.
Nice.
So yeah.
And she was also made Queen's champion at that same event. So
you're so nice, Bronis. You're so nice.
So Nessa, was there anything that in particular has stood out for you in Coach's Corner? Anything that you would like to share with others that has helped you?
So the Sundays practices were my big thing. I did listen to a lot of the Coach's Corners, and I took what I took from there, but Sundays were my big things. And what I found from there, not only training wise, but I went from just me and Sir Husband to this whole foundation of support. And I don't think I could be where I am without that support at all. So, and they've taught me, like, I got that support from them, and I've learned how to give support to others. And like, not just with the training, but like seeing somebody crying on the side of the list, being attentive and like, let's work through this, and helping there. Just that's all I don't know. I don't got much. I'm just thankful for the support from just Coach's Corner in general.
I think that's, and the best part is it's just not Coach's Corner. It's everybody who joined it, right? I mean,
yeah.
it's been so many people, I think, want to help people be better now. And I think they see that there's a whole group of people out here that really do want to help everybody be better. And I think, I'm not sure we realize that that's quite the way it goes. Sometimes I look and I'm like, are we really doing anything? And, but, I think when we first started the show and Tristan reached out to me and Sean, it was, okay, well, let's just translate, some stuff onto the screen so people have something to, and this is before COVID. So let's just, let's talk about coaching. Let's talk about training and ways to train. And it was going to be a good training show. And we talked about, hey, I really wanted more coaching and what that meant as well. So we can get that vocabulary out there of, the coaches and mentors are important as well. And I think it's really even gone beyond that. And that is, it's gone all the way through the support staff of everyone. And I think people are looking and seeing that, it's enjoyable to help others and it's enjoyable to support others. And, and everybody can do a little bit of that. All they have to do is put the effort towards it. So I'm going to say one big thanks before I forget it. And then Craig, I saw you raise your hand because I'm going to, but I want to say a thanks and then we just won't let her answer. And that's the best for coming on the show. I think all of us, I know that Tristan and I think all of our audience has really enjoyed her coming and challenging all of us a little bit. And
I would fear having a poll of who the favorite coach is. Because although she came in late, I think she'd blow us all out of the water.
I think so too.
Well, thanks, because this is just like a little love fest. But you guys have made Coach's Corner has made me, I hope, a better person and a better coach. I think I'm fierce with my dogs. Go out this room, mommy working. I'd like to think that, like Eustace, I've learned how to be a coach. I don't know that I necessarily was a coach before I started really participating as Coach's Corner. I taught my squires and I taught at practice, but I don't think I would have thought of myself as an actual coach. And I certainly don't know that I could have communicated as well as I communicate now because of the group, and that's been very very nice of everybody to help me be better so I can help the group be better, like the group, all of us better. So thanks. I really want to say, I really appreciate all the people who spoke to me at Penzic and talked to me at Penzic and told me that they liked the show. Thank you a ton. That was just like so nice of you. I really, really appreciate it. I would say that is what I learned most I personally have learned most from Coach's Corner, is that people want to learn. And I mean, in the old days, I'm sure we wanted to learn too, but we didn't have the, what did you say? We didn't have the resources. Kim called them resources because I always take notes. So we didn't have the resources to do this. And we did have to go to, drive, to another practice to get one or two little pieces of information, which were so important. But now we all have them here. And I think that's been one of the nicest things about Coach's Corner, is getting to know everybody and getting to know all our viewers. So thanks.
Oh, Craig, you were going to want to say something.
Yeah, I just want to fill in that when I listen here, that not only Coach's Corner, but since I'm quite far away from most of you, I should say, I feel that I know more people, even though I never met them or never spoken to them real. It feels like, well, I know people over there on the other side of the pond. It's the same thing that Beth said, that all these different shows within the society make feel that, well, I know people. Actually, I do. But I never met them. And that's quite a good feeling to say I have a lot of American friends.
Well, it's actually interesting because you brought this up earlier in your conversation, how COVID kind of opened up the world to you guys. And I think what it did is it brought all of the SCA in good and bad ways, by the way, together again. And because we had such a positive focus on one area specifically of the SCA, I think, and involved the people that really were interested in it, I think it brought our group together and it created a very positive place where everybody is looking to help each other. So I thought what you said earlier was perfect, because I think that's 100% the truth. I think it did. I think it did open up, before we all had our own separate things, and now it's like, hey, we're all, it doesn't matter where you are. We had somebody from LOCAC just on, talking in chat, and he was saying that he watches all the time. He can't watch because it's in the middle of the night, but they're still there. And I know a number of Magnus and a number of other people from another show, Great Fighters of YouTube, and from over there. And it's just, the more you know these people, the more you realize they're the same as us. And and we're all able to kind of share what we love. Uh-oh, look like we're adding someone.
Yeah, we are.
All right. Oh, and talking about LOCAC, there we are.
Speak of the devil.
Gabriel, what do you have to say?
Morning, all, because it's morning for me here. It's late
What
morning.
time
Actually,
is
no,
it
it's just afternoon. It's coming up on 12:07 in the middle of the day on Saturday. So, hello from the future. I also really wanted to say, in the cheesiest dad joke ever, of a long-time listener, first-time caller. And I apologize for these bad jokes in the string, but I've been awake for like 8 hours or 7 hours or something. So. Look, I've been listening to these, obviously don't have Thanksgiving, being Australia, but I've been listening to these episodes for a really long time now. Often I'll miss them because of the fact there's something on a Saturday morning, events, family, whatever's happening. But I always go back and listen to them. And it's been, for me, as a long-term fighter, like I have a household and I have squires and other bits and pieces, but this has been able to fill my cup, I think is the term they kind of use at the moment for it, because I've been getting a little bit crispy with kind of just being around for decades and watching people come and go, and the amount of energy you put into someone. Like I've had my own personal success, and friends have had successes, but you kind of all the newcomers you've seen come and go that you've spent a little, like every newcomer sometimes you put a little bit of yourself into, you're helping them through, and then for whatever reason they leave. So my cup had become very empty. I'd become, I wouldn't say bitter, I would just say defeatist, I guess, in a lot of ways. And so being on the Coach's Corner has allowed me personally to think about fighting and have a whole lot of positive influence to myself and other people. And really, COVID's been great, because I think I first started looking at when there was the female chivalry videos, and they were 2 years ago, a long time ago. And Rithkin did her Murder of Dukes interviews, and there was that fellow who did the 5 Ways to be a Duke. He did a couple of those ones early on. That was quite early in the time frame as well. I log on and look at the Detroit fighter. No offense, we kind of call it the Branos training. I apologize to Louis and to just because I've actually met you twice. I think for Lockhart, I'm a bit odd that I've actually been to two Penzics and 2 Gulf Wars over the years, and I'm going to there's a training in Hawaii.
That looks fun, man.
Which I get to meet Sean and a couple other people that I've known for long, and I've been very lucky that I've had been able to join in on His Royal Highness, His Royal Majesty Okta and Helgi from Cade's nightly training bits and pieces that they often do. I've been able to join in on that. So really, for me, it's been a whammy of a contributing of things. But what I like about the Coach's Corner is it's given me things to think about. I don't think I write as many notes as Bess does. I think Bess probably writes more notes than me, but I always jot down little notes of things to do and put them in a book and rotate through. So I'm very thankful for the energy that all of you put into the show, and also making me feel like part of a bigger community, because just like his Royal Highness and Dragonvolt, sometimes you feel a bit far away from other bits and pieces, but it does help with the sense of community, which has been great. So thank you.
Well, Gabriel, I look forward to seeing you soon again. And that Hawaii thing looks awesome. I wish I could go. It's I'm still recovering from my shoulder thing. Hopefully we get to see each other again soon. And you're coming in loud and clear. It's it's great hearing from you. And you know what? I understand that empty cup, and I think it's hard not to, because we've seen so many friends. I mean, literally friends come and go. Sometimes I look and I'm like, my peers for most part are gone. And some of my best friends throughout time have, I count them in I kind of have layers. And I'm lucky. I look now and I feel lucky that I have a lot of young friends, and they really help educate me over a lot of the younger things that are, a lot of society changes going on, and a lot of things that maybe an older person, and not that I'm like crazy old here, guys, but my hair, you think it, but it's sometimes we don't get a view when we're around our own people, and there's in the SCA, one of the luckiest things we have is I can be a friend, a 58 or 57-year-old guy can be a friend with a 20-year-old or an 18-year-old, or teach kids. And, I'll be like, what does that word mean? In fact, they tease me all the time about that, but it's,
look, you're absolutely right. I just want to say is one of the things I came across early on was this idea that, during COVID, is that there's the idea of the mentor and the mentee, for want of better terms, but it's actually the inverse. These days and age, it's important for everyone who's older to have someone younger to understand it. And as I see people coming through the SCA, things are changing, society's changing. I'm 48, so I'm not super old, but I'm old enough to realize I'm getting old, in that kind of weird phrase of things. So I think you're very right, Branus, in that. That's really interesting, seeing all those new people coming through and getting that enthusiasm, which I think is learning.
Yeah, and I think the part I love about it most is I think it's made better for me. It's made life better. I'm less bitter about change, because they help me understand change, and I can listen to that, and it makes me understand what they're thinking about. And I think we're a much better planet when we try to understand each other and listen to each other. We don't have to agree all the time, but we sure can talk to each other and try to be nice to each other.
And on a personal note, this is going to seem like not turning this into the We Love Branus show, but when Branus came out in 2006, 2007 to Lockhart, he did a series of classes, and my wife and I had bought a house, so I couldn't go to them, but he came to Brisbane, where I'm located.
Oh yeah,
doing a training on a Wednesday night, and I'd been a knight for maybe 2 months, so I wasn't cocky, but I felt relatively confident, and we fought 16 times. I double killed you once, and you killed me 15 times without breaking a sweat. And you were the third person. I was the third person you'd fought without a break all the way through. And you were paddling us effortlessly with a smile on your face. And it was a bit of a. But what happened from then is before that you taught us and had explained it to us. And what I took away from it was actually just movement, as weird as it sounds. Like, I'm 6'5", so I am very tall in regards to the American things, and it was kind of good being paddled so much as it like we did that, and even though we called it the Branus snap for like a decade, it killed us all with, but it was the movement. I took away the movement from it, and I don't fight anything like you physiologically, culturally, other bits and pieces. But what I took something from. I learned something that day for fighting someone who I had never fought, who fought in a different style, who was physiologically, culturally, all the different different, and found that. And so that's something I've really liked about the Coach's Corner, is that I've listened to people's training and done that. So in some ways, Branus, you sent me on this course 13 years ago when you gave me a paddling with a smile on your face in such a charming way. So,
well, I tell you, I still talk about that. That was one of my best times in the SCA. It was one of my most enjoyable adventures ever, and the people there were so incredible. That's one of these experiences I would have never got, and And that's why I went, because I thought it, whoever thinks they're going to go to Australia. And then I went and I met the best people in the world and had an incredible time. And the hospitality was incredible. And
I still periodically watch the video of the fights. There's footage, there's CDs, there's DVDs of the thing. So I still have like 2 copies of those that I watch periodically.
Oh, awesome!
So keep these documents. Anyway, thank you very much to Tristan, to Beth, to Ronval, to Sean, to all the people who have run the show. I found it really fun over many years. So thank you very much. Very thankful.
Thank you for coming on. So Tristan, is it this show living up to what you were hoping?
It's exceeding it in every way and measure.
I know. I don't even know what to say anymore.
It's to call it a bit of a love fest is accurate. I'm just thrilled, as I always am, when I hear back from students or people that I've helped, when they say, wow, it changed the way that I look at things. And this is just the best ever. And it's almost like feeding somebody who's hungry, and the appreciation that you get for that nourishment. Like, that is the joy of being a coach. And for people that are listening to the channel, for sorting out how they can help other people that are struggling or that want to learn. Maybe you are your new night marshal of the group, and you're in charge now of bringing new people in, making a place that they feel welcome, giving them something to eat because they're hungry. They want to learn, they want to understand, and not just be thrown out into a bear pit. There are a handful of people that learn that way, but most people, a vast majority, do not. They will want to come back when they're being fed, when they're being offered something. And I know we've talked about this on previous episodes, but you do not need to be a master fighter or a duke to train new people and to give them something to learn and to give them something that will make them happy. As you grow, you'll find networks of people that when you run out of things to show somebody because they've eaten up everything you've given them and they're like, give me more, you can get into your network and get them to somebody that can take them to the next level. Because that's one of my main motivators for this whole Coach's Corner thing, was so many people that have heard is just say, well, I don't know enough to teach anybody, or I don't know how to do it, or I don't know how I would structure a practice, or how I would deal with a student, or how do I do it? It's just like, I think having the content out there to say, all right, just like any other thing, you can learn how to do this. And it's not that hard, but it does take attention, and it takes absorbing information, processing it, practicing it, learning from your failures, because you have them just like a fighter. You go out and you screw up and you get hit, and you come back, you say, all right, how am I going to do that better? And the same thing holds true for helping people learn. That's my experience anyway.
I got to say that of all the coaches we've ever had on the show, the guests, the people who have been here, the one thing that I can take away from all of this is that everybody really wants to help. Not everybody necessarily knows how to help, and hopefully we're helping you with how to help. But I will say that everybody really just does want to help make things a little better. And I hope that people are feeling not so alone. As we've heard from Kim and others, I think during COVID, this was a good way for us to stay connected and stay focused. It's helped me when I can't fight, when my stupid bicep got torn off and I couldn't do anything. At least I still felt like I was fighter light. I was learning about fighting if I couldn't actually go out and do it myself. And I've learned that, although Ronvalder's not here to say, change the victory conditions, I have learned to change my own victory conditions when I need to. And it's been recently I've had to do that a few times, and it didn't work. But Tuesday last week, it finally worked. And I finally felt like I'd managed to change my victory conditions enough so that I felt good about the terrible mess of things I was making. So I have to say that Coach's Corner has helped me that way, even if sometimes it takes me a very long time to absorb the information and to act on the information. I find that it has helped me. And for coaches who are at home and are maybe new to your group or new to coaching, if people don't do the thing that you're trying to tell them the first time, remember me, it took me a long time to hear, or to hear many times, change your victory conditions. No, seriously, Bess, change victory conditions. It took me a long time to be able to actually do that and accept that as a real and true way of making practice good for me. And please don't get discouraged, and please continue with what you're doing, even if it seems to be going more slowly than you wish it would. That's what I got.
Hey, Bess, you just brought up kind of, it took you a long time to learn. You know where I'm going on this, aren't you? I'm really getting into the Musashi stuff now, I have to say. I'm a little...
Well, this is an example. So I read the Book of the Five Rings. I'm like, this is stupid. You read this, it's like 3 paragraphs, and then it says, you must study this well. Well, that's what I'm trying to do by reading your book. But the conversations that we've had have helped me understand it a little better. I still think it was a way for him to make money. I'm going to write this. Oh, and you should study this more. Like, come join my, study this well. I still think this is a way for him to make money. I'm waiting for book 2 any day now. But I do believe, I understand, or I'm willing to accept it a little better. And some of the woo-woo stuff, okay, it's not quite so wooey anymore.
Maybe it's just woo now.
It's just woo. It's like with acupuncture. I totally don't believe in acupuncture. Oh, I'm going to stick some needles in you. Ooh, and you'll feel better. The thing is, my sister is an acupuncturist, and so I bug her all the time. But I go to her house and I'll see her on Sunday, and I'm going to say, Jody, I need you to stick some needles in me. It's stupid, and I don't believe it, but it works. So it's much like this. I think it's stupid because I sew and I jab myself with needles and I don't feel any better. But when she does it, I feel better. So I think it's like that. Sometimes you just have to keep going at it, even when you think it's stupid. And eventually you realize it does work.
That is the thing. You keep it in mind, you keep doing it, and you keep learning about it. You keep finding joy in it, and you'd be surprised where you go.
And I will say, I've always been the weird kid in the corner. It's one of our jokes. I participate on the Sunday group with practices and whatnot. And I'd be, all the other fighters would be rushing up and down the ladders doing stuff. And I couldn't do it. I would, my feet were like, no, we're not going to go there. We know you think that you should be doing this, but no. And I would literally at times have to pick up with my hands, pick my legs up and move them around to get them to go where I wanted them to go so that my muscles could learn what I was trying to do. So again, for coaches are at home who are looking at us and thinking, well, this is so easy to throw a blow or to do the thing. Like it's just bippity bobbity boo and you do it. Now, when I do a lot of the footwork drills for myself, I'm like, well, this is so easy. How come it was so hard? And but I'd like to think that it's taught me patience. So again, I say, remember, Bess, it took her forever. She was the weird kid in the corner practicing things over and over again. And if you have a weird kid who just wants to learn one thing tonight, I just want to focus on this one thing, rein yourself in, your excitement, and just like Bronis did with me, he's just like, okay, Bess is just going to do the thing we were doing 15 minutes ago. She's still doing it. Yay, Bess. So I would like to encourage you all to remember for your new kids, it takes them a while and they might learn differently.
And just post it on the screen here. You're right. When you tore that bicep, you were still doing ladder drills. So even when you were coming back, and I think that's the trick. We find the things you love and you focus on those things, and it helps you in life, right? I mean, it's consistent. That consistency piece. It's sometimes you just need to be able to get one day or 1 week down at a time, and the one thing you can go and almost like ends up like meditation. You can go there and lose yourself in that just for an hour, and let everything else go by and be in that quiet, wonderful place, right? And
Yeah, and actually, Bronis, you said something earlier, and Jack did as well. When you were hurt, you know, it was hard to do anything, but you still go to practices and you're still there doing, and you're training and you're coaching and you're doing what you can. When Jack was hurt and couldn't do things, you do what you can.
yep.
So it's easy to say, my shows are on, you know, as you say, my TV shows are on during practice, so I'm not going to go to practice. And then 6 months pass and you say, wow, I picked up a sword. I haven't done anything for 6 months. So like I gummed up my knee at Penzic and it's still a little gummed up. So my practices are remarkably short and when on Tuesday nights, and I'm not doing a whole lot, but inside I can say I've been at practices. So for people who are hurt or at home, or, you know, you're feeling old and you don't want to go, even if you go for like I'm just going to fight 3 guys, 15 minutes, you know, it'll be 5 minutes, not even, because we all talk in between, but you go and you participate. And in 6 months, you haven't progressed quickly, but you've progressed and you're not 6 months further behind. And for your newer kids who maybe are newer fighters who are doing that, I would encourage you coaches to help them with that as well. Even if they're like, well, I can't do it all, and, you know, it all feels hard. It's okay. Just one little step at a time, baby steps.
Yeah, I would agree 100%. Well, first thing I'd like to do is I'd like to be the first one, and I'm sure all the rest of our coaches, and I want to thank all our guests. It takes a lot of so for some people it takes a little bit of getting past that fear of coming on and being on a show and talking about the things that you enjoyed most, because sometimes emotionally those are hard to deal with, because you don't think they are until you're here, and then you start talking about them and you're like, wow, you know, it's been 3 years of really interesting things happening in your life, and wondering, you know, what would have happened, you know. And so I'd like to thank you for being brave and coming on, and I'd like to thank you all for trusting and coming and listening, and all wanting to learn, all wanting to be better teachers, all wanting to understand, all wanting to help other people enjoy what we do, because we enjoy it so much. It's work. So, that work. Sometimes it's hard. That work's hard. Sometimes disappointing. In the end, I think if we look back, I'm not sure what I would have done without it. So, Tristan.
Oh, well, I want to add to that just one little thing. I want to thank all of our listeners who quietly just listen and watch, and our audience. Whether you've given us feedback directly, you know, through private message, or talk to us in person, or just not even at all. You're just, you know, to us a number of views, and to know that you are interested in what we have to say and find it valuable enough to come back and keep listening. To us, a lot of times we feel like we're talking to the ether, but we know that there are people out there that are hearing this and are getting something out of it. That's why we do this. We love sharing what we know. At least my only frustration as a coach is I can't impart what I've learned fast enough. There's an absorption rate. You know, I just want to be able to have people share the joy of learning, being better, and it takes time. And I'd love to just, you know, download what I know how to do to other people, because it's so fun to learn those things. I also want to add just one last thing before we go, and that is this episode was special in that it was the first time that we've brought on just people from the audience to chat and share their experience. We really wanted to do this for the Thanksgiving episode, but it's also, we're trying it out to see what it's like to do this. And we'd like to hear, it's our plan to try to do more of things like this, get even closer connected to our audience who can ask us questions directly rather than through the chat box. It's a way that we could format maybe some future episodes specifically to certain subjects where we can get direct interaction. As we know, fighting is really about connection, and it's difficult to do it through this medium. But I think we've done a surprisingly good job. This has exceeded my expectations, not just this episode, but Coach's Corner in general, about how we seem to have connected with their audience, and you've connected with us. So for that, I'm very thankful.
Hey, Bess, got anything?
You mean about next Friday?
I would no. I'm anything on the episode.
I am thankful you were all here with us and you stayed with us for the journey, and that Bronis and Tristram invited me on. It has been one of the honors of my life. So thank you.
So we got a bunch of other guests on. Kim, anything?
Unmute, Kim.
Yeah. It's that whole mute button that threw me off. No, I think this has been great. I really appreciate the opportunity to come on the show. I've been watching for a couple of years now, and so it was really neat to be able to jump on and talk a little bit about my story and my experiences. And I just appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
You're welcome. Craig, what time is it there?
Oh no, it's 3:30. Half past 3. It's still quite early. Now,
Well, thank you for coming on.
Very grateful for doing this. And when I think back, it's been a few years. There's still words that pop up in my mind at different times, and I practice it. Like smooth is fast. It's something that comes back to my mind that I heard somewhere. And the episode on reaction speed, it's just marvelous, and I don't remember it all the time, but then suddenly it pops up back. And yeah, that's the thing. You don't have to be very fast. There are other factors, and that's something that you're giving by just talking, doing so many shows and talking about so many different contents. I should say, probably not the right word. You keep reminding me, probably some else people, about good things when it comes to fighting, and I get to know you. So I'm very grateful, and thank you, and keep up the good work.
Thank you, buddy. I almost forgot the smooth is fast one. That's an old one. He pulled that one way back machine right there. Nessa. Oh, you're on mute. Ha ha ha! I love this part. All right, we'll just leave her on mute. She knows that that's her favorite.
It's your favorite part. Thanks to Beth for asking me to come on here. And thank you to all of the coaches for their support and their teaching. You gave it freely. You even archived it and continue to give it. Bring the past into the now. And thanks for everybody for watching, because if you didn't, it wouldn't be a show. So.
Thank you for being on. Thank you for coming up. Thank you. Mart. What do you got?
Did I get the voice there? Okay, cool.
Yeah, you got the voice.
Again, just adding on to all the thanks that everybody else has added in here. You guys giving up your time on this, showing there's a process and what it takes, what's involved, everything from if you're on the learning side of the process or if you're on the coaching side of the process, and how to improve on both sides of it. And you also hit on the one part on there of either helping folks find the joy of going through this process on what we're focused on, or in some cases, rediscovering that joy and laying out a path to be able to continue to get more and more of the joy. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you for watching, listening, and I look forward to having you back.
Cool.
All right, now. Bess, what do we got next week? I am Jude. You tell me what we got.
So next week is an exciting episode. At least I think it is. It's especially for the women. It's the women who have won crowns and coronets.
Awesome.
So we hope to have that episode on for you next week. We hope it'll be good. Please feel free to ask any questions. If you want to send me questions ahead of time or comments ahead of time, please do so. You know where I am. You know how to find me. I'm Bess Mortimer here on Facebook. And we'll see you next Friday, 8 o'clock. Women Who Have Won Crowns and Cornet.
Sounds like a great episode. All right. Well, I'd like to thank everybody for joining us. Thank you for the wonderful words. Hopefully the next 3 years will be the same. And that you'll enjoy it as much. On that point, I think Tristan brought it up. If there's something special you would like to talk about, if there's something you'd like to be involved in that you think is important, let us know. We love working stuff out with people. We love working with people, and the community is just not ours; it's everyone's. So we want to make sure everybody has a chance to participate. So,
and it may seem from the audience standpoint that we've got a pretty rigid, inflexible show. Far from it. We are very flexible and can make just about anything work. So let us know if you've got some good ideas, and anything that you'd like help with, we're there.
All right. Well, happy Thanksgiving for the folks in the U.S. and hopefully it's a wonderful weekend for the rest of you. And everybody be safe. I hope everybody's looking forward to the holiday seasons, and we'll see you next week. Bye, and I hope you enjoyed. And